here it comes, the C64 Mini. This is a remake of the Commodore 64. If you have been living on the early 80s, 90s, you should know this device. This was my first computer. So this device has two USB ports, one HDMI out, that's all. It was made by Retro Games Limited and it's an emulated, which is working under the license of Vice Emulator. We will talk about how we can extend the capabilities to have a little bit more enjoyment with this device. First, I want to talk about the audio limitation. It has no audio output, so if you're using a regular TV, you don't have any problems. But if you're using a monitor without any speaker, you need to have audio out. So my solution comes here. You need to get an HDMI switch, which has HDMI extractor feature, something like this. And basically, plug in your 3.5mm speaker into the stereo out and plug in the HDMI out of Commodore 64 into one of the in ports and you have the audio. This was my solution. Now I'm going to jump to the keyboard part. You know, the keyboard is just a cosmetic keyboard. It doesn't have any feature, any circuit board underneath it, or it doesn't work properly. If you would like to play a game which needs a keyboard, or you want to use the keyboard to play some games, you need to have a regular keyboard or something like this. This is an RF keyboard. It's not Bluetooth, by the way. Bluetooth will not work. I've chosen this keyboard because it's quite small and looks nice and it has 3 backlit colors. You might use different ones as well. Another important point is that you need to plug in the keyboard before you turn on the C64 in order to recognize it. Also, you will need to use a keyboard if you're going to use the project Carousel, which allows you to add around 1000 games. In order to navigate between the game list, you need to press Ctrl 1, Ctrl 2, Ctrl 3 or Ctrl 4 for weak games. If you decide to use the project Carousel like I did, you will need 3 USB ports. So with that reason, I have chosen a 180-degree rotatable USB hub. This one is one of the sweetest I found on Amazon. It's very easy to plug and it looks nice. So we will be using one port for the RF keyboard and then one for the joystick and the third one for the Project Carousel USB stick. As mentioned before, the Project Carousel allows you to play around 1000 games and add additional games to it. You might search it from the internet, download the project, format the USB stick into FAT format, copy the files, and then update the firmware from the menu. That's it, and ready to go. So guys, that was the 4 top best practices which I wanted to share with you to extend the capabilities of the C64 Mini. And for the ones who are a bit more interested and won't like to disassemble the C64 to implement a USB hub, yes, that's possible. There are some videos on the YouTube channels as well showing how to disassemble. It's very basic. You just need to remove the plastic caps and unscrew the 4 screws which are laying underneath the plastic caps. There you go. Please be careful while opening it because there is a wire, you don't want to break them. And here it comes, the ARM-based board, which is emulating the C64 Mini, and additional weights to make it a little bit heavier and pricey. And lastly, as mentioned before, if you don't want something hanging around the C64, you can maybe mount the USB hub into the C64's case, but you need to be careful and have good practice on do-it-yourself kind of practice. So be careful while doing that and enjoy the video. Take care and keep safe. All the best.